Here are 3 psychological tricks premium brands use that every brand builder should know. So if you're a brand builder trying to build a premium or luxury brand, do this. Question: why would anyone pay £625 for a t-shirt when a £16 one does exactly the same job? It's the same cotton, arguably the same sort of stitching, same function, but one sells for 40 times more and people buy them every day without even questioning it. So a lot of people ask, why are luxury brands so expensive? But the real question is, why are people willing to pay so much for them? Because once you understand that, you start to realize something really important. Premium brands are not selling better products, they are engineering perception. I've got a story for you. In 2018, a British journalist ran an experiment. He bought a plain white t-shirt for £16 from a high street store, H&M, and then he bought a £625 t-shirt from Yves Saint Laurent. He compared them side by side and he saw it was the same weight, same cotton, same stitching, both manufactured in Europe, same template. Functionally, they did the same thing. They both covered your torso and they both look good, but one costs 40 times more and people willingly buy it, which tells us something really important. Premium brands are not selling function, they are selling perception, and that perception is engineered using a few powerful psychological mechanisms, and today we're going to break down 3 of them so you can leverage this for your brand and use this brand psychology to build your own premium or luxury brand. This video and this channel is for brand builders who want to use brand psychology to elevate their brand, for those who want to understand the why behind luxury and premium brands, why they do things and the way they do it and how they do it, so you can do it too. So unlike other internet, the stuff I talk about on this channel actually comes from lived experience in working with global brands, working with top London agencies, working at ad agencies, working at Google's flagship digital training program where we taught founders, entrepreneurs, CEOs, and some of the biggest brands that you know how to do digital strategy properly. But most importantly, I jacked that all in to create my own luxury brand, and I took it from £200 a unit right up to £10,000, £16,000 a unit, and I've got a wait list of people who are inquiring. So the stuff I talk about on this channel comes from real experience and stuff that I'm actually doing, and I've been studying brand psychology for over 15 years. Like, I love this shit. This is my shit. So what I want to do is break down this complex brand psychology, this behavioral science, shape it into ways that you can actually use it, so you can take away from each of my videos, go away and plug it into your brand. And I say all that not to brag. I'm just sick of people regurgitating information that they have no experience in because they've seen another YouTuber doing it. So without further ado, I'm going to show you the 3 premium brand psychology mechanisms, what I like to call them, what they are, how they're used, and prompts for you to be able to integrate them into your own brand. Let's dive in. Premium and luxury brands by nature are different, inherently different, but these brands rely heavily on 3 psychological ideas which are universal, whether it's your high-end luxury fashion brand or a premium drinks brand. So whatever you're building, take note of this. Number 1, price anchoring. Number 2, costly signaling. Number 3, perceived value engineering. Now I'm going to dive into what each of these means and how you can use them, okay, and how they work, why they're so powerful. So let's break these down in simple terms. Mechanism 1, price anchoring. The first price someone sees becomes a reference point in their mind. Everything else gets judged relative to that number. That number establishes the expectation of the brand. The brain automatically assumes price equals quality. This idea comes from research by one of the best behavioural economists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. There was a famous experiment they did, and in this experiment, participants spun a wheel that landed on a random number. Then they were asked completely unrelated questions about world statistics, and even though the number from the wheel had nothing to do with the questions, it heavily influenced their answers. The number they saw first became the mental anchor. The exact same thing happens with pricing. If the first thing someone sees is expensive, everything else suddenly feels more reasonable. So luxury brands deliberately create these anchors, and these anchors live in your mind. Question for you brand builders: if you want your brand to feel more premium, ask yourself, what is the highest price someone sees when they encounter my brand? Do I have a premium flagship product that sets a tone for everything else? And am I accidentally anchoring my brand too low? Is your anchor price too low? Because the anchor price you set shapes how every other price gets interpreted. I integrated this into my own luxury brand. I started off selling products for £200 a unit, and the way I was able to raise them to £10,000 a unit and £16,000 a unit is because I created price anchors. Okay, so I was 3 years onto my journey, and what I would do is every collection collection that I released, I would create a really massive piece that was really spectacular, really stand out, wasn't designed to go into anybody's homes. It was literally there to anchor the price. And that piece was priced at about 25 to 30K. Instantly, when you're looking at my work in a gallery and it's anchored alongside other high-end works like Banksy's, Richard Hambleton's, and other prominent artists like Damien Hirst, my work sits alongside those. Obviously not at that level, but my anchor price now became 20 to 30K. So when you're speaking to a client about a £5,000 piece or an £8,000 piece, it suddenly seems more realistic. People don't question the price because it's anchored around that high price point piece that I've anchored, but also the context and the setting and the company that it sits in. So that's a great example of price anchoring. I want you to think of how you can do this within your own brand. Look at your prices, start to think of them in a more psychological nature. Have a look at your prices and work out where you can create a high-end price anchor that establishes the expectation across your brand. Mechanism 2, costly signaling. So costly signaling is simple. When something is expensive, it becomes a signal, whether that's a signal of success, taste, aspiration, status, belonging. The higher the cost, the stronger the signal is. See, people aren't just buying the product, they're buying what owning that product communicates to other people. Luxury and premium brands understand this deeply. So I've got a question for you guys. Ask yourself, what does owning my product signal about the person who buys it? Does my brand help my clients or my customers express their identity, their taste, or their status? And does my pricing reinforce that signal, or does it undermine it? See, if the price is too low, the signal weakens. If you're finding this helpful, I give away 17 different ways in 17 days of how you can increase and elevate the perception of your brand. These are around specific mechanics that you can implement that will take your brand from here to here. So if you like the sound of that, jump onto my email list. I'm sending out 17 ways in 17 days how you can do this. Really easy, actionable micro tips that you can go away and implement every day for 17 days. And trust me, your brand's going to be in a completely different place. These are based on psychological mechanics that you can implement. And the key here is to understand what mechanics are being used and how they influence people to buy. The stuff that I'm sending out isn't just regurgitated crap. This is rooted in 15 years of working in brands, brand building, researching brands, and diving headfirst into this stuff and doing it myself. So jump into my email list and you'll get those every day for 17 days. Trust me, it's worth it, it's free, got nothing to lose. Mechanism 3, perceived value engineering. See, perceived value engineering is the process of designing everything around the product so it feels valuable. And when I say everything, I mean everything, the world that your product lives in. So this can include the environment, packaging, the brand story, language, scarcity, your tone of voice, your unique experience, your lived experience, your ups and downs, the things that make you you, the unique things that extend to your product. With my brand, the unique thing about my product is I pitched it as the antidote to boring and pretentious fine art, because the fine art world is boring, it's pretentious, everyone's doing the same thing, it's so elitist. So what I did is I created a brand that was really disruptive, really anti 99% of the market, because I wanted to capture 1% of the market that truly loved and got behind what I was doing. And what I did is I created products around my story about breaking into the art world, which is known as impenetrable, fucking impossible to get into, and even if you do, you never make any money. And here I was, someone with no experience, never painted before, just a creative guy, wanted to create cool shit, who was able to break into the art world and make a real success of what I was doing. All my products became an extension of my brand story. And my brand story was so intrinsically linked to my personal story. So every image, every caption, every quote that went into the artwork, every caption on an Instagram post, every Instagram story that I put out, every drop, every release, every gallery that I engaged with, every client that I engaged with, I spoke from the same story. I created the world that my product and my brand lived in. So luxury brands are not just selling products, they're designing the context around the product. So what I was doing is designing the context around the product. See, if I went and put my artwork on a stall in the middle of London on a street, I would struggle to sell it for £100. But take that same artwork, put it in a high-end gallery gallery in the middle of the West End, place it among loads of other established high-end artists, create marketing material that goes with it, create a trailer video, create a brand story around it, create a narrative around it, get people excited about it, create an event, create an exhibition. So all of these things became the context where my product lives. And trust me, when the context feels premium, the brand inherits that value. It becomes part of that. So here's a question for you brand builders. Ask yourself, what environment does my product currently live in? Not just is it online or offline, what world are you building for your product? Does my packaging, branding, and design, does it signal quality before the product is even used? No, these are little micro signals. These are little ways to establish the context that your brand lives in. What small details could make my product feel more premium? Like, what are the few actionable steps? Another way I did this, which you could try, I mean, it took a long time, but I've done quite a few luxury brand collaborations. I worked on a commissioner piece with Porsche, went and did a whole exhibition around it. We had a couple of hundred people turn out, and we did it on the night of the launch of the 911, the new 911 that came out. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the football club, did a VIP night with them and a collection for their VIP, doing pop-up events with private members clubs. All of these things helped me to elevate the perception of my artwork and my brand. And these were small things that I'd work on every week, tweak it and add more context where my product sat in and the world that it lived in. Therefore, it lived amongst the world of high-end luxury brands. It lived amongst the world of high-end collectors. It lived in the world of private members clubs. So have a think about all that and go through the questions that I just mentioned. See, premium perception is rarely about the product alone. It is everything around it. Often you'll find a lot of luxury brands, like I explained in the beginning, the product is more or less the same. I mean, there might be slight difference in quality, but a lot of it is around the context of the brand. So yeah, if you like this stuff, jump into the email list. I'm going to send out more ways of how you can do this, how you can implement it. You know, this is behavioral science and brand psychology made simple, because it's fucking hard to get your head around, but once you do, it's really powerful. I'm going to give you some real life brand examples of this stuff in action. So let's look at how these three mechanisms show up in real brands. And importantly, you'll see the same psychology whether a product costs £10 or £10,000. You're going to see this popping up everywhere, being used on you. So this stuff works in whatever niche or industry you're in and whatever price point you're selling at. This is for people who want to elevate in their category. You know, it might be a drinks brand. Look at Cadence. Other hydration drinks sell for like £1. They sell at £3 a unit. Or you could be a luxury fashion entrepreneur. Yves Saint Laurent. You could easily find a shirt that sells for £500, £700. The price anchoring here that they use comes through extremely expensive runway pieces that can cost thousands of pounds. The pieces then sell for thousands of pounds. So that establishes the price point of the brand. And once the customer sees those prices, maybe a £600 shirt suddenly feels a bit more expected, a bit more reasonable, a bit more normal when you live in that brand world. See, costly signaling comes from the logo and the heritage of the brand. Wearing Yves Saint Laurent signals fashion, literacy, and status. And perceived value engineering happens through the boutiques, the campaigns, the cultural associations with Paris fashion, the large budget campaigns, the big models, the art direction. All of this stuff establishes the context in the world that that product lives in. In the same way that a super expensive Louis Vuitton bag establishes a price anchor for the £500 pair of sunglasses. The bag basically sets up the sale for the accessories. See, £500 for a pair of acetate sunglasses, which, trust me, cost no more than £15 to manufacture. I've looked into it. I went to launch my own line. These glasses act as an entry point for the luxury brand experience. So if you can't afford the bag, then hopefully you can get in on the brand by purchasing this expensive for you, but luxury pair of sunglasses. The only reason you justify spending £500 on a bit of plastic is because the LV bag and other top line products anchor the price in your mind. They set the mental expectation. So Porsche, again, a brand that I've worked with, Porsche uses price anchoring through ultra high performance models like the GT3 RS. You know, these cars set the top of the range. Compared with that anchor, other Porsche models appear to be more attainable, whether it's the Boxster, whether it's the Porsche 911. With regards to Porsche, costly signaling happens because driving a Porsche communicates success and appreciation for engineering. The perceived value engineering happens through motorsport heritage, design, precision, ads from the 1970s, factory storytelling, storytelling from designers, all of the iconic people over the years who have purchased and owned and driven a Porsche. Another brand, Bang & Olufsen, they sell speakers that cost over £10,000. £5,000. Bonkers. These flagship speakers anchor the entire brand. See, costly signaling happens because owning a B&O sound system communicates refined design taste. Shit, these things look like sculptures, okay? They look like works of art. And perceived value engineering happens through sculptural product design that makes the speakers look like art objects. B&O doesn't just frame speakers as electronics as so many other speaker companies do. It frames them as sculptural design. So if you just spent £1 million on a house renovation, you're very likely to buy a really beautiful sculptural looking speaker. So here's where it gets interesting. This psychology doesn't just apply to luxury fashion or super expensive brands. It applies to water, it applies to soap, it applies to juice bars. Let's look at the brands doing the exact same thing in everyday categories. So whether you're creating a luxury fashion brand or a premium e-com brand or a high ticket coaching offer, the psychology remains the same. Use this stuff. Example, Aesop, a brand that I've done some creative work for. Aesop sells hand soap for £35 to £40, which is absolutely nuts. Hand soap, last time I checked, was about £1.50. In the soap category, that is extremely expensive. In this case, price anchoring happens because their entire range sits above normal skincare pricing. And costly signaling happens because Aesop signals taste and cultural awareness. Perceived value engineering happens through minimal packaging, beautiful stores, and thoughtful language, really considered design, really considered color palettes, font, everything is super considered. The soap becomes part of your home aesthetic. So if you just redone your bathroom or you've got a couple of guests coming around that you want to impress, the soap becomes part of your home aesthetic. Aesop isn't just selling hand soap, it's selling a beautifully designed bathroom ritual. Super different. Cadence, one of my favorite brands at the moment. Cadence sells hydration drinks for about £3 per can. It's far above the typical soft drinks price. See, price anchoring happens by positioning the product closer to wellness performance and wellness performance supplements rather than just your average, Red Bull, high octane energy drink. Costly signaling happens because buying Cadence signals health awareness, lifestyle aspiration, and you're part of this lifestyle brand experience. Perceived value engineering happens through design, very stripped back minimal design, brand storytelling, working with runners and different athletes, going to different High Rocks games, popping up, doing loads of brand activations, up until recently positioning in premium retail environments, okay? Cadence isn't just selling the drink, it's selling performance culture in a can. It's selling lifestyle fitness in a can. Fiji water. I mean, if you haven't tasted it, it tastes absolutely banging. Love Fiji water. But Fiji water is significantly more expensive than most bottled water. Fiji use price anchoring to sit at the top of the water category. Costly signaling happens because carrying Fiji communicates lifestyle and taste. And perceived value engineering happens through packaging design and the exotic origin story, and also the places where you'd find Fiji water. So, think of some of the hotels, or if you go into a meeting with a high-end client, they'll often have Fiji water. So Fiji isn't just water, it's water framed like a luxury lifestyle accessory, okay? Last one, Joe and the Juice. A smoothie here can cost double what you'd pay elsewhere. Last time I went in there, I nearly fainted at the price of a juice. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. But price anchoring happens through premium menu pricing. So they use high-end prices to really establish the price of what the juice is worth. Costly signaling happens because the brand signals urban lifestyle and culture. Perceived value engineering happens through store design, music, atmosphere, and all the brand personality, the tone of voice, plus the Gen Z healthy eating lifestyle culture that they've so well managed to tap into. So the big idea here is, and what I want you to take away from this is, the mistake that most founders make. They try to improve the product, but premium brands improve the perception around the product. Because when perception rises, price follows. So here's the key insight. Across industries, the psychology is the same. Only the expression of it changes. Whether it's luxury cars, hand soap, bottled water, hydration drinks, restaurants, hotels, software, personal brands, they all use the same psychological mechanisms, the good ones. Price anchors shape expectations, costly signals communicate identity, and perceived value engineering shapes experience. See, cheap brands compete on price and premium brands compete on perception. And once perception is engineered correctly, people will willingly pay 40 times more for something that on the surface does exactly the same job. If you like this stuff, jump into the email list. 17 different ways over 17 days of how you can elevate your brand using brand psychology and behavioral science. Until the next video, peace.